Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the topic Apple and BYOD Achieving the Right Balance. I'm Akanksha Vashisht, the Senior Marketing Analyst at Scalefusion, and I have with me Faninder Kumar, who's the Associate Product Manager for Apple at Scalefusion. And we are thrilled to have you today for this webinar where we will be diving deep into the most pressing topic for enterprises today, that is, how to achieve the right balance between corporate data and employee privacy when employees bring their own devices to work. So let's wait for a couple of minutes till the time everyone joins in, and then we'll start with the webinar. Okay, so now I see that we have a lot of you who have joined us today for this webinar. So without further ado, let's start. Once again, I welcome you all to today's webinar on the topic Apple and BYOD Achieving the Right Balance. So before we start, let's have a quick look at the agenda for today's webinar. So we'll be covering, first of all, we'll be talking about the rise of Apple in BYOD scenario. And then we'll talk about what is the current BYOD scenario like. Then we'll have a look at some of the cybersecurity attacks in numbers, some of the statistics that we have. And lastly, we'll talk about how Scale Fusion BYOD management can help organizations achieve the right balance. And also, we'll be seeing Scale Fusion in action today. So let's dive in today's session. BYOD isn't new, but Apple's presence in the BYOD landscape has grown significantly. And why is that? Firstly, employees love Apple devices for their seamless ecosystem, ease of use, and powerful security. Also, Apple's user friendly, intuitive interface and high quality designs. We have a stat here which says that a significant portion of employees favor Apple devices. A survey indicated that 32.5% of employees prefer Apple branded devices over other brands. With this increasing adoption, what are the current challenges that IT teams and employees face when it comes to using their personal device for work? Let's look at some of them. To protect the corporate data, IT admins or organizations need the ability to configure corporate policies that will in turn help them protect their corporate data on employee devices. They also want to have the capability to monitor and keep their devices safe from any threats and vulnerabilities. On the other hand, employees are concerned about organizations getting access to their personal data on their devices or their location getting tracked or being able to be tracked. Well, now, since devices are prime targets for malware attacks or threats, without restrictions, it becomes very impossible for IT admins or organizations to maintain robust security, which in turn causes threat to the corporate data that is available on the devices that employees are using for work. Let's look at some of the cybersecurity attacks that has happened worldwide. In August 2024, in a national public data breach, 2.9 billion records were exposed. In the same year, 2024, in the Ticketmaster data breach, over 560 billion records were compromised. Now, let's look at some of the stats or the data leaks that happened because of an employee error. In 2024, an employee mistakenly uploaded sensitive corporate data to a public GitHub repository, exposing internal company documents and information. Similarly, we see two other data breaches due to the personal devices of employees being left exposed. So now the question is, how do organizations balance their security needs while ensuring that employees' personal data isn't accessed? Firstly, organizations should set up BYOD policies that restricts the use or misuse of the corporate data that is available on employee devices. Secondly, they should also configure virtual private networks or encrypted connections for employee when they are accessing the corporate data on their devices. Lastly, it is very important for organizations to educate employees on the best practices to recognize and avoid these cyber attacks. These are few of the key strategies that organizations can implement to ensure the security of their corporate data. Now let's talk about how Scalefusion helps organizations secure their Apple BYOD environment without compromising on user privacy. Before that, let's have a quick look and understand what is the difference between legacy BYOD and modern BYOD. Legacy BYOD solutions often required full device management, giving IT admins extensive control over an employee's personal device, including access to all apps, settings, and even the ability to wipe the entire device data. This approach raised privacy concerns and deterred employees from enrolling their devices into any BYOD solution. Then comes the modern BYOD. Apple user enrollment is designed specifically for this BYOD environment, creating a clear separation between corporate data and user privacy. IT admins can only manage work related apps and configurations while keeping users' personal data private. This approach ensures a clear balance between security and user privacy, making Apple's approach more user friendly. Now let's look at how ScaleFusion can help you secure your Apple BYOD environment. ScaleFusion Apple BYOD management keeps corporate and personal data separate using managed Apple IDs and data protection policies. This ensures that the corporate data remains secure while the organizations doesn't have to access any of the personal files or data of the employees. ScaleFusion helps organizations build a secure and user friendly BYOD strategy that ensures both IT data security and employee trust. Now, let's look at some of the features that ScaleFusion supports for BYOD for Apple. Work data setting. This feature allows organizations to manage the data flow from managed apps to the unmanaged apps. IT admins can also configure a Wi Fi network to access the work data and prevent any cyber threats or vulnerabilities. Organizations can also enforce encrypted backups of the devices. To ensure robust security, organizations can prevent employees from taking screenshots, sharing files, also restrict copy pasting capabilities to and from the corporate data and resources available on the employee's Apple device. Also, IT admins can restrict or allow the syncing of managed apps to personal iCloud and also managed Siri settings. The one that gives employee the flexibility to work on the devices they love without any intrusion to their privacy, and the one that also gives the IT admin and the organization the capabilities to secure their corporate data. So, without further ado, let's dive into and see Scale Fusion in action. And now I would like to hand it over to Faninder for a quick glimpse of how ScaleFusion BYOD for Apple works.
Hey everyone, let's jump into the demo. I'm Faninder Kumar. I'm the Associate Product Manager at Apple in Scalefusion. Alright, so let's jump into the demo. Here we have the Scalefusion dashboard. I have all the prerequisites set up, configuring the Apple user enrollment, and I have imported a test user for this demo. I'll start off with jumping to my iPhone on the right hand side, and I'll go to settings. I'll scroll down to general, VPN and device management, and we see the option sign into work or school account. The employee, or in this case me, I'll enter my email ID that was provided to me by the organization. I'll be shown the terms of service page. I'll accept them, proceed to authenticate myself. Once the authentication is done, I'll be redirected to sign into iCloud option. I'll click that and I'll be prompted to sign in again as this manage Apple ID is linked to the Microsoft account. I'll enter my password here, click sign in, and that should do it. We'll wait for the remote management screen, click on allow remote management button, and the device should enroll in a couple of minutes. So we can cut it here, and then once the device is enrolled, the device is enrolled now, and we are getting prompted to install the managed applications that I have published. I have published Gmail application and Scalefusion MDM client. Since this is a user enrollment, the users are prompted to install these applications. If I go back to the settings, you can see that the managed account is funinder@pm04.in, and I'll even show the initial settings page where you can see the same management displaying here. The applications have been downloaded. I'll open Scalefusion. I'll configure that quickly. All right, Scalefusion is configured. Now let's see the device policies that we can apply. In the device profiles, I'll go to the BYOD profile that I have created. I have enabled Gmail and Scalefusion MDM client as you can see here. And in restrictions, I have allowed Siri and I have allowed managed apps to sync to managed iCloud. I have disabled all other settings here, and I also gave the permission to import files into Scalefusion app. This will be super useful if the organization doesn't want to share the managed files to some other third-party application. We'll see that in action shortly. In the work data settings, I have blocked any data movement from a managed app to an unmanaged app so that corporate data stays secure. I have also blocked the copy paste, and we'll see that in action shortly. The apps have been downloaded now. Let me quickly set up the Gmail application. Since Gmail is a managed application, I won't be able to transfer any files or copy paste text from the Gmail app to any third party app. Let us see that in action. I have sent a sample PDF, and when I click on share, we can see only the managed applications being displayed here. I can share it to Scalefusion or import to Scalefusion, or I can save it in files. I'll click on save to files. Here I can see that this device storage is not managed, so I cannot save this file in this location. If I go back, I'm shown an option for iCloud Drive managed by Scalefusion. It shows iCloud Drive by Scalefusion, so it is a managed storage. I can save that file over here. Similarly, we can import it to Scalefusion. Clicking on import, it imports to Scalefusion, and we can quickly see it in Scalefusion application. The PDF is here. So even from here, the files cannot be shared. If I click on share, only the managed applications are displayed. Now I have a demo PNG. If I try to save it, the same thing happens while saving it to the files folder. I can save it or share it with other managed applications, but I cannot share it with unmanaged applications. Now I'll also try to copy paste. So this, since it is a managed app, I should not be able to copy from here and paste it in an unmanaged app. like notes. So I'll create a quick note here. I'll try to paste it. You can see a banner telling that this content is restricted. Also, if you go to the files application, you can see the clear segregation between the personal iCloud drive and the managed iCloud drive. I cannot move the files from here to the personal side. Now on the dashboard, the iPhone will show up and you can take actions. As this is a user enrolled device, you cannot factory reset the device. You can just delete it and remove the enrollment. When we delete the device from management, all the managed applications will be removed along with the corporate data. I have deleted the device from the management, and shortly the managed applications and the corporate data will be wiped from the device, keeping the personal data secure. So that's all for today's webinar. We would like to thank everyone who has joined the webinar. And if you want to dive deeper into how Scalefusion can help you secure your BYOD strategies, you can sign up for a free trial on our website www.scalefusion.com. Let's build a smarter, more secure BYOD future. Thank you and see you in our next session.